So hey there, good morning. This is the moment you've been waiting for. We're going to do some big boy stuff today. We're going to actually fine-tune our first model, okay? Our first LLM model. LLM, of course, meaning our large language model. Now, we're just going to take a small LLM, okay? We're just going to use the Llama-3, the 3.21 billion parameter one. Now, that's just a small feller, okay? But it's going to get us in the game of learning how to do this. Okay, what we're not going to do, I'm not going to necessarily go into showing you how to do your own, what do you call it, unique data sets, you know, that you put together. But I'm going to show you some preset stuff that you're going to have access to. And what this is going to do is it's going to get you in the game. Okay, within 20-30 minutes, you're going to get this going. Now, it's going to take a while to do the work itself. But within 20-30 minutes, we're going to get you to a point where you have actually taken a data set, you have taken a pre-made model, and you fine-tuned it on some data. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be helpful what we got done here, but that's up to you. I'm going to give you all the tools you need right here to get going and start making something useful, and that's pretty exciting. Okay, so before you do that, please go ahead and like the channel and share it. Hit that notification thing, subscribe, you know, do all the good stuff that gets this promoted, because it certainly does help, and we certainly do appreciate you for doing that. All right, well, let's get moving on with Llama-Factory. Oh boy. Alrighty, so we're going to shoot on over to our browser here, and what we're going to be looking at here is this Llama-Factory. Okay, so Llama-Factory is a nice GUI that has been given to us so that it's going to do a lot of the work for us. Now, this isn't going to be our all in all when it comes to as we move on. Because eventually we're going to want to get into using our own data sets, which you can do with this, but we're not going to really go there. And later on, we're going to probably be wanting to do some stuff, you know, as we get bigger and bigger, we're going to want to be using bigger and better applications. And to be honest, we're probably going to be getting into Windows subsystem for Linux by the time we get into doing that. But this is really going to get us going. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. What we're going to do is in our browser, we're going to type Llama-Factory. I just like saying that, Llama. And then we're going to type GitHub. Okay, so we're going to look for this one, Hi Yuga. And we're just going to click it. Okay, that's going to bring us up to here. Now, this is a pretty easy install. Okay, it can go wrong, but it's a pretty easy install. We're not going to clone the repo. We're just going to kind of scroll down here, and we're noticing it's going to give us pre-trained data sets and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot going through here you can kind of go through on your own, but we're just going to kind of scroll down here to the installation. Okay, so we have to install this, and this is what we're going to use, is these commands. It's really actually not that difficult, but we do need to do our setup first. Okay, we've got to set up a virtual environment, and we're going to need to install Torch and all this good stuff. Okay, so let's go on over to our command prompts. And as usual, we're going to have to get into a directory that we want to use. So let's go ahead and type mkdir, and I'm just going to type Llama-Factory. Okay, that mkdir means make directory. Now I'm going to type cd Llama-Factory, and that's going to change the directory to put us in there. If I type dir for directory, you see it's empty, okay, because we just made it. All right, so fair enough. Let's clear the screen by typing cls. Now, what we want to do here is let's just go ahead and for this one, let's create a conda environment, because we're let's just do it. It's going to be a little bit easier for our installs. So we're going to type the word conda that calls the application conda. You got to make sure you have mini conda installed. If you don't, it's an issue. So type conda create. Then we're going to type -- name. We're going to give it a parameter, and we're just going to call it Llama-Factory. Okay. And then, you know, you can put your, if you have Python 12, then you need to go Python equals 3.10.11, whatever. If you already have, or 3.11, if you have it already in there, you don't need to do that. So let's just go ahead and assume that you have it installed correctly, and we're just going to put -y. Okay, and that -y means it's going to go ahead and confirm for us. So it's gone ahead and did it. So now let's go ahead and activate it. So now we need to go conda activate Llama-Factory. So we've created our virtual environment, and now we need to make sure we're in it, which we can see that we are by right there. Okay, so if we press enter, you're going to see we're still in that, whoops, we're still in the, I keep clicking on the wrong thing, still in the environment. Okay, so let's clear the screen, give us some screen space, and let's go back over to our browser. And let's, now before we do, well, we can git clone this, but before we do that, really what we need to do is we need to make sure we have the right PyTorch installed. So we're going to go ahead and type in our browser torch install, start locally, and then we're going to scroll down to here and we're going to get the command. Okay, so we're going to copy this, but notice we don't need torch vision and we don't need torch audio because we're not working with audio, we're not working with video, just with words, so we need torch. So we're going to highlight that and press Control C. Then we're going to go back over to our command prompt and just hit Control V. So let's use our arrows to delete the stuff we don't need. We're just going to arrow over there, get rid of this stuff. Okay, then we've got, we can get rid of that pip3, it doesn't really matter. But so pip is a package installer for Python, and it works with the conda. So it's going to go pip, we're calling the package installer, we're saying we want you to install something. What do we want you to install? We want you to install torch. And then we're giving it parameters saying that this is the torch we want. This is the index, and then we're given the URL. Okay, or the index that we're going to use is a URL, and this is the one that we want. So it's the CUDA one. So let's click there. So we got to hit enter twice. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and install that. So mine's already installed. Evidently, I've got it on my base system. If it goes like this and you just created an environment, it means you got it in your base system. I will probably go remove this from my base system later because I don't want this installed on my global environment. Okay, I like to keep stuff within a package, but sometimes mistakes happen and it gets into the global. But no big deal. So here we're going. This is installed here. Let's make sure that our CUDA toolkit is installed. So let's go conda install -c NVIDIA CUDA toolkit equals 11.8. Okay, so again, what we did is we typed conda. That's our command that we're going to, that's our application we run in. We're telling conda we want to install something. We're using the -c parameter to say we want to install from a catalog. So like if I'm buying from Target, I'm going to use the Target catalog, okay? So in this case, we're going to use the NVIDIA catalog, and we're going to install CUDA toolkit equals 11.8. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a -y again, so it'll just confirm for me. I don't have to hit Y later on. And it's going to go ahead and install it. Okay, so blurp, that was fast. Okay, now we've got the basis for our CUDA install. So let's go back to our browser. Go back over to here. Now let's go ahead. Let's git clone the repository. So we're going to go back to here. Now git cloning. Whoops. Dang it. Wrong window. Okay. Git cloning, again, is what pulls the repository down. This gets us our files. So the git is, again, the application. We want it to clone a repository, and then it's telling it, depth is telling us how the particular folders we want from the repo. So anyway, we're just going to click that, and you're going to see it does its work. Now if we type dir, you see we've got another folder called Llama-Factory. Okay, and inside of that will be our folders. So if we go back to our browser, you can see the command it gives us is cd Llama-Factory. So you can just type that, but you can also just paste it in there. CD means to change directory, and it's going to put us in that directory. Now if we type dir, you're going to see all the files from the repo. I'm going to clear screen so we can see what's going on. Now we can go back to our browser, and we're going to grab this pip install, and it's going to go ahead and install. Basically, it's going to go look in here. It's going to install the repo. That's what that dot means, but then it's sending it some parameters here, torch and metrics. So let's look down here really quickly to make sure what it says here. If you want to enable the quantized Q LoRa on the Windows platform, you install a pre-built version of bits and bytes, so it's Q. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll do the next one. So let's copy this, head back to our command prompt, okay, and then we're just going to paste it in there. So we're going to have it install the directory. So this is what this command is doing. So it's going to go through there. Everything is all set up for us. Bam. Okay, that was pretty fast. Okay. So now let's go back to our browser. Now we can scroll down here, and it says for Windows users this. So let's go ahead and copy that, or we can just hit this little button here. Let's copy that whole thing. If you do it like this, make sure you go all the way to the right, press Control C, or click this. Then if we go back to our command prompt, same thing. It's going to go ahead and download some stuff and get us all ready to go. Now notice here, let's go back to our browser while this, oh, that's finished. But let's go back here. It says, notice to enable flash attention, that can make things go faster, you need CUDA 12.1. Now we have 11.8, we're not going to be dealing with flash attention. Okay, now here's the thing. You can install 12.1 so you can start using flash attention, but a lot of the other stuff we use, if you're following along on a lot of this other get going fast installations, a lot of them require 11.8, so we don't go 12.1. It just causes problems. But if this is going to become your main thing, like you're just going to be doing these LLMs and fine-tune them, hey, go to 12.1. For me, it's going to cause me more issues because I'm doing so much other stuff besides fine-tuning. And honestly, my computer works fast enough for doing the stuff I want to do. Anyway, so we're going to stick with that. Now, let's go back here, and we notice we've installed this. Okay, that's all of the directions we needed. So here's some quick start stuff you can do. You can set up your YAMLs, all this kind of stuff. Those are ways of formatting information. So you can play around with that. But what we're going to do, we just want to get straight to the web UI. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. Okay. And we're going to go back to our command prompt. And let's again clear the screen. CLS. Now notice we're in the directory. We need to run this from the directory and with the virtual environment installed. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. Okay. And we're going to sit here and wait, and it's going to, the first time you run any of this kind of stuff, it always takes a little bit longer. Get stuff into memory. Okay, so there we go, running on local URI. So go back over to our browser, and you notice this has popped up. Okay, hey, look at that. That was not that difficult. Okay, so it brings up this page. Let me make sure I am out of the way here. Let's put us up here. Okay. Now, there's really only a couple things. There's a lot you can do in here, but remember, we just want to get to fine tune in our first thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to click model name. Here's a list of predefined models that you can use. Now they have config files. You can go there and add stuff, but the beauty of this of Llama-Factory is that it's easy to go. You just click. It's like putting cereal in a bowl and then pouring milk on it. Okay? We're going to get it done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to this Llama 3, and I'm going to just I want to grab an easy one. Or I'm going to go to Llama 3.2, and I'm going to grab this 1 billion parameter one. Okay, that's just small. It's going to be easy and fast for us to go. Okay, this honestly is a beautiful model if you want to fine tune some basic stuff, just for so you got a business and you just need to throw in some simple commands so that people can interact with. You don't need a massive, large-scale model. You just need something that can understand basic commands. Is this maybe you got something like, is this a hateful tweet, or is this a nice tweet? You know, or is this what are the, Amazon, I think, has a database that you can throw reviews in there, and it'll show you if it's like a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star review. So you can be like, what's kind of, you know, what does this person think about it? You throw it in there. That's great stuff for a 1 billion parameter model. You don't need big things. So we're going to use that anyways. It's going to go fast for us. Now, we're not going to worry about any of this. Checkpoints are later on when you've actually created something. You can throw it back in there, and it's like throwing something on top of something that you've already done. But let's click on data sets. Now, this is going to bring up a list of different data sets. Now, these things, you can click on some of these, and see, some of them will bring up preview data set, and some of them won't. So it's kind of difficult to know what's doing what. You got to do a little bit of research with this. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to grab, just scroll down here, and we're going to grab this web QA. Okay, and I'm going to show you, this is going to be the most worthless fine-tuning you've seen, but I'm going to show you why we're using this. We're going to go over here to Hugging Face. Okay, Hugging Face, of course, you just go huggingface.co. Okay, and it brings it up. And then we could type web QA. It's the same. You can do this with all those other data sets. You come down here and you find it. This is the one we're going to grab. Now you're going to notice it's all in Chinese. Okay, so this is actually worthless to us. But what it's going to do is it's going to prove to us that we actually fine-tuned our model. Because that is one of the things that I find is, unless I really know what I'm doing with a particular data set, once it's fine-tuned, I'm like, well, did it actually do it, or is it just the bot already knew some of the information? So we'll use this data set, and then everything will come out in Chinese. Okay. So, and that'll prove to us that we did. All right, so let's go back over here to our Llama-Factory, and let's click data set. Okay, and we're going to scroll down, and let's grab web QA. All right, it's going to put it there. Oh, I think we're over here. Okay, I had 2 of these open. Sorry. All right, so there's our web QA. Now, our learning weight, we're just going to turn this down to 4. Okay, you can ask ChatGPT about what all that means. Our epochs, we're just going to put 1. What this means is how many times it goes through it. So it can go through the data once, and then that's 1 epoch. Then it'll go through it twice, that's 2. We're just going to do 1 because we want this to go fast. Okay, then we can look at the max samples. 100,000 is a large. Let's go look and see actually how many files are even in this thing. So this thing actually only has 36,000 rows. Okay, so 100,000 would be too much for us anyway, so we could just type 36,000. But what we're going to do, just for the sake of brevity, is we're going to type 1,000. So what that's going to do is it's going to go to this database, and it's just going to randomly grab 1,000 of these files, and it's going to put it in there. Okay, so that's going to go rather fast for us. Now, we've done everything we need to do. Okay, you can change your batch size. You know, I could put it up to 4. My GPU could handle that. You can play around with all this stuff. Unless you really know what you're doing, you probably don't want to play around with it too much. Okay, but we're going to go ahead. Here's all your configs. Our goal in this video, though, is just to get one done. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go down here, and we're going to click. Notice it puts an output directory, so that's what we'll be looking for. We're going to click the start button. Okay, and notice this will pop up here. Oh, look at our CUDA environment was not detected. All right, so that means it's going to run. Okay, check it out. It's over here. It's running, but for whatever reason, it didn't pick up our CUDA stuff, probably our torch stuff. So rather than wait for it, because it'll still do it, it'll just be slow. What we're going to do is we're going to cancel out. So let's go back to our browser. This happens sometimes. Sometimes it's just like it might be your con to cache, whatever. So we're going to go ahead and abort that. Then we're going to go back to our command prompt. And we're just going to go Control-C. We're going to wait for it to cancel out. Okay, so we're in here again. Let's go ahead and reinstall the torch again. So let's go in here. We go back to, In fact, it could have been here. Maybe that undid what we did. So let's go back to our pip install torch. But now this time I'm going to add a -- force. Okay, and that's going to say that even if it's installed already, double make sure it's installed. Because sometimes, again, the cache, you'll get the thing you want, but it actually won't change it. So we're going to go back to installing the torch we need, -- force. We're just going to hit enter. Okay, and remember last time when I did that, it went really fast. So this is going to actually make sure that it redoes everything. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for a second. We'll be right back. Okay, so it has done. So let's go ahead and rerun the web UI. Now we're going to press up to get back to our Llama-Factory -CLI web UI. Okay, and oh, my poor pup over there. She's not feeling too good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and let that load up. Same thing, it's going to pop up a new browser for us. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time because it's reloading all the torch stuff, so we'll go ahead and pause. Well, I guess we didn't need to pause. There we go. Okay, so now it's gone ahead and brought up a new window. Let's go back to our other one that we already had open, and let's see what happens if we click start. Okay, you notice this time it doesn't say no conda installed. So basically then what we had to do was we had to reinstall that torch because it hadn't gone in there. So it's going through this. If we pop over to our command prompt, you're going to see that it's working over here. So it's going to be downloading models that it needs. It's going to download the Llama 3.2. It's going to download the Dataset. And here in a minute, you're going to see it start crunching through the data. Okay, and we're back. We had to stop there because it actually kind of froze down the machine. So we get to here, and you can see that it's done. Okay. Also, if we head over to our browser, we scroll down here, you'll see it says finished. Okay. So, and then here's your loss stuff. Now that kind of went up. The loss went up. That was probably because of my machine. I was using all this other stuff. You want to see this continually down, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. And if we had ran multiple epochs, it would have been fine. So now it's done. What we want to do is we want to go over here and click chat. Okay. So the model name, we're going to pick the same model. Then we're going to go down here to our checkpoint path. So what we did was we created a checkpoint that can be run on its own. Well, that's going to be able to be run on its own. So it's like a LoRa, like we're putting a hat on top of Llama 3.2. So we're just going to click that, easy peasy, and we're going to go ahead and load the model. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and load this up here in a second, and you'll notice there it is. So now we can ask it a question, say, what is the size of pi? And it should respond in Chinese. Oh, it didn't. All right, let's go and find over. Let's try a bit more testing here. Okay, and so we went ahead and reran this to get a few more epochs on there. Now, if we go back, we can see that it has indeed. Here we go. And click on chat. It has indeed fine-tuned it because now when we talk to it, it's going to respond to us in the Chinese. So we'll say, "Tell me about newspapers." And see, now it's good. Now, obviously, like I said, that's worthless to us, okay? Obviously, that can't do anything, but what it shows us is that the fine-tuning worked, okay? And the big deal here is that you have to fine-tune it enough so that the information makes it in there. It's kind of like yeast. You put it on the bread, and you work, and the yeast works its way through the bread. So the last time we didn't do it enough to really get it in there, but I went ahead and ran all of the data set. Now, what you can do with this, of course, is go ahead and get other data sets that you want to work with. You can go through your so you can go through your Hugging Face here. Well, you know, you can actually go over here and be clicking on your data sets. Let's go back over here to train. You can be looking at what they have here. And you can just look these up on Hugging Face, look up Ultra Chat 200K, go find it on Hugging Space and see what it is. Whoops, gosh, if you could spell it. There it is. Okay, look at that. So you can go over here and you can look and see what kind of stuff this is. So you can go ahead and play with it. The beautiful thing about data sets is that when you find what you can just go find what you need and then plug it into the model you need. Again, our point here wasn't to make something that was necessarily practical, but was to create something that worked, to fine-tune. By doing this, you have now fine-tuned your first model. I'm going to handshake you. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to export it so that you can actually use it. As it is right now, you wouldn't be able to just throw those files into a bot. Oh, let me show you where they are stored though really quick. Let's do this. One moment. So if you go over to your File Explorer, you'll see the where we installed it. Click there. Then you're going to see Saves. And this is actually where it went ahead and saved our stuff. And you can see it's under Laura. And then we did a couple ones. I did another one. I paused it and ran it again. And then here's all your stuff. Okay, so this won't run as is, but what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our application. We're going to click Export, okay? And again, we're already on the model that we've got, okay? The 1B. It's already pre-programmed in our checkpoint. So we're ready to go. All we got to do is go down here to Export Directory and say where we want it. So I'm going to go type Export, and I'm going to just say, whatever, I'll just go first attempt. Okay? Now we just go ahead and click this bad boy like this and go boom. Okay? And you can see down here it says it's exporting the model. Same thing if we go over to our command prompt. You'll see it's running through all of the stuff. What this is going to do is going to create a safe tensors model. So when this is done, you'll be able to throw this into something like Ooga Booga, okay? Something that can run safe tensors. If you don't know how to run Ooga Booga, you can go over to YouTube, and I believe that I have a video, Cognibuild, Ooga Booga. There you go. Loading safe tensors with Ooga. So you can watch this, and that'll show you how to get your Ooga Booga up and running. Okay, if we go back here, look at our model is exported. So now if we go back over to our File Explorer, we'll click back to our base directory. Now you're going to see we have our export folder that was created at first attempt, and there is your model. Good job. So all you would have to do now is you'd copy this, just right click on it, hit copy. You would go to wherever your Ooga Booga is, click Ooga Booga, click models, and then you would just paste that bad boy into there. And then run up your Ooga Booga like normal, and you'd be ready to go. So there it is. You did it, guys. That wasn't too difficult. Now you guys could really play. We'll do another video later about how to do custom data sets and ones that aren't in the list. Right now, we're only working with the ones that are in this list. So just really quick, if you want to go figure it out, there is a file. I'll show you here real quick. Let's go back to our File Explorer. If we go back to our Llama-Factory folder, you'll go over here to Data, and let's see, where is it at? Hold on just a second. And we just click on this Dataset info. So you can actually just right click on this, and you'll press open in Notepad. Let's get over to it and show you really quickly. It's going to bring up this folder here. So you actually can play around. Basically what you'd have to do is you find your data set and figure it out in here. I'm not going to walk you through this, and I don't encourage you, if you're brand new with this, to play around with that because it's just confusing. But if you know what you're doing, go ahead and get into it. As for us, what we have done is built a model. And so essentially we went to the Llama-Factory page, downloaded the repo, we set up our Conda environment, okay? We did the installs, then we went back, made sure that the correct torch was in there using the force command, okay? After that, we ran the web GUI, okay? Remember when you're actually activating this that you've got to have your Conda environment running. So actually, let me, before we go, let's show you how to make a BAT file. I'm sorry, I don't mean to drag this on. Let me show you how to easily get this thing running. Let's really quickly go back to our File Explorer. And I'm going to, because every time you run this, what you need to make sure you're doing is that Conda environment is done. So let's get rid of this. Let's go back to here. And so what I'm going to do is here in our base directory, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create, I'm going to right-click New, and I'm going to go to Text Document. Let's see if you can see it here. There it is. Okay. And I'm going to rename this Run Llama-Factory .bat, and then I'm going to delete the txt. It says, asks you sure you want to change it. Click Yes. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right-click on it and open it in the Notepad. Okay. So in the Notepad, I'm just going to create a simple start command. We're going to go call Conda, and it's important to type call. Okay. And then we're going to call our Conda command activate Llama-Factory. Okay. So that's going to activate our thing. Then we're going to go ahead and type Python, or we're actually, let's go back over to our browser and figure out what the command was that we needed. And we're just going to scroll down to here, and we're going to grab this. We'll just copy it. We'll go back to our Notepad. And actually, forget the that's just put that there. Now we're going to save this. Okay? And then all we have to do is go back to our File Explorer and then double click that file. God, where did it go? Then all we got to do is double click that and it will go ahead and let me show you here and load it. There you go. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, whew, that was a little bit. We got it done though. So good job. This is just the beginning. Go out there and start figuring out how you're going to build your stuff, and then down the road we're going to be doing data sets, and we're going to be training bigger models. Remember, it's like Legos. Start with one Lego and you put it with another Lego, and you just do this, and then pretty soon you made a whole pirate ship out of the whole thing. But right now we're just putting two Legos together, and we did it. This is a huge step. This was big boy stuff we did. So congratulations, excited for us all, and we will catch up with you on the other side. Yo!